Hello and welcome to Instagram for Business.
My name is Despina Karatius, and it's my pleasure and privilege and absolute honor to be sharing with you everything I know about the Instagram platform. I come to you with 20 years experience in tourism. I started out from working in a regional airline, Kendall Airlines. If anyone remembers that, I've had experience in cruising, hotels and hospitality, and the opportunity to manage the world's best hot air balloon business, Global Ballooning Australia. I loved this business so much. When it came to celebrating my 10-year milestone, I wrote a book about it, Adventures of a Balloon Girl. And writing a book and sharing all our journey and all the learnings and all the transformation that we went through this business was really the launching pad to get into industry training and development. And I had become the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, one of the Victorian trainers, and the rest is history, as they say. I am the proud founder and trainer at Institute of Excellence, my wonderful school for small business greatness. My specialty is definitely helping the small tourism business owner, marketer, tourism professional, decode tourism, digital and social media marketing to really help grow business and leverage all of these online marketing solutions and resources that we have available to us as small business. What I am most passionate, however, is really empowering business owners and marketers to be able to do this themselves. If there is any questions, comments, I want to stay connected, please reach out. Please stay connected throughout your journey of the course. I welcome emails, I welcome private messages, I welcome any type of ping your little heart desires. So if there's any questions, comments, any reason why you want anything you'd like to ask, please feel free to email me directly. The Instagram Marketing for Tourism course is broken up into 3 modules. We're going to start with Module 1, Introduction to Instagram, Module 2 being your Instagram game plan, and Module 3 we're going to look at and delve into Instagram advertising and how you can set up an effective Instagram campaign through Ads Manager and other advertising solutions you can look to consider for using through the platform. You have made such a good decision in doing this course, and the real intentions and goals that I have for you in this training are to really see the benefits of why Instagram marketing is so relevant and important for your business, how to be strategic with your Instagram efforts, and creating the best content for your account. So I thank you for being here, and let's get into the training. Welcome to Module 1, Introduction to Instagram. The 3 lessons we will go through together, my friends, is lesson number 1, why Instagram? Then we go into Instagram 101, and we're going to delve into building stories for your Instagram account.
Let's start with lesson 1, why Instagram? In this lesson, we'll cover benefits and latest stats of the app. We're going to take a tour into the Instagram platform, and we're going to look at some Instagram inspiration at some hero accounts that we can all learn from. With every lesson, I love to kick off with a quote. And this lesson will kick off with Marketing is a Contest for People's Attention by the legendary Seth Godin. Let's do this.
Some fun facts for you about Instagram. Posts with at least one hashtag, and we'll talk a little bit more about hashtags throughout the program, average 12.6% increase in engagement. When videos were introduced, 5 million videos were uploaded in the first 24 hours. So Instagram didn't start off being as an image and video sharing resource. It only started with imagery, but when video launched, it went to next level. The most popular hashtags on Instagram, check it out, is hashtag love, instagood, me, cute, and follow. Now, the biggest fun fact of all, there have been over 40 billion, yes, that's not a typo, it's a billion photos shared on Instagram to date. Now, let's look at the benefits of Instagram and how it can really help your business. Number one, it's really, really simple, super easy for any business owner or marketing professional to use despite of any tech or social media objections. Visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. So, having a visual social media platform like Instagram is really, really important for a visual and highly inspirational and aspirational industry like tourism. Number three, it's made for mobile only. And I don't know about you and how you're ingesting information at the moment, but certainly all the stats tell us that, particularly in Australia, we are one of the largest adopters of mobile technology globally. And more, we're looking to our mobiles for all of our solutions. And with the Instagram being an app first, it is made for mobile first. So this is something that we really have to take into consideration. Number four is that you can track your conversations and track what is said about your business through the use of hashtags. So hashtags are really, really important on Instagram. Number five, definitely connects to you and what you do to your ideal target market or your ideal visitor, and gives you a fantastic ability to attract that right audience into your business and into your growing community. And number six, it is another means for you to use this platform as a vehicle to drive traffic back to your website. And what does that mean? That means you being able to drive traffic back to your booking pages and back to where users can engage more with your business. Let me take you on a tour now of Instagram and really pop the bonnet and see what are some of the features of the platform. As I mentioned earlier, Instagram is an app first. Unlike a platform like Facebook, where it's essentially started and is predominantly a website with an app to complement Facebook, Instagram is the opposite, where it's an app first. It does have a website to complement the app with limited functionality. So all of the functionality that gives you the opportunity to do all the cool tips and tricks are within the Instagram app. So the very first thing that I encourage you to do, if you haven't done so already, is download Instagram from your App Store or your Google Play or on Android. The typical Instagram account can look like this. Now, this is a screenshot of my personal account that I also use for business purposes. So what I started to do was I just started playing on Instagram as an individual. But as I started to do more and more of training, I flicked the switch from personal account to a business account. And this is something really important for you to make sure that you have set your Instagram account, particularly if it is for business that you want to leverage it, into a business profile. And you can do all of that from your settings area. This is what the top features look like. So now this screenshot, we are looking at the very top features of your account. Now, to start with, we will look at this little timer or clock that you can see next to your account name. Now, essentially what this is an archive of all of your stories that have been shared on your account. Now, we'll go into if stories is something that you're not familiar with, or you may be very familiar with and using it. This is an archive where all of what you've shared sits within your account. Now, number two, you can see Instagram have really stepped it up with how much access they give the platform owners into just having an overview into the stats, into the reporting. So you can see here, as soon as you can kind of tap on that, it'll show you your profile visits in the last 7 days. So it gives you a really good snapshot of what's happened in your account in the last week. So you can see from activity, and you'll have profile visits, website clicks, emails, anyone that's actually sent you a direct email. If you've got a location, a map onto your account, calls that have come through. So some really good insights into what the activity or how your audience is interacting really at a glance. So you can, just by looking at a glance, you can see how well you've done. Now you can also see insights into your content, how many views and how many interactions per post that you've had, but not only for your feed, for your actual for your status updates that you've shared, also for the stories that you've shared. And last but not least, you can see within your feed from the most popular to the least. So you really can gauge what your Instagram audience has valued or really enjoyed most from your account. So this is a good idea to look at this from time to time if you get stuck into what should I share, or have a look at what has been performing the most and then create more of that moving forward, or definitely put those highest performing posts into the mix to be able to share more of those type of posts into your content mix. Now, looking at your insights for your audience as well, you can see an overview of how many followers you have, what your demographic is. Now, this is really interesting for me on Instagram. So if you look at the gender account, even though the overall, the global audience of like 800 million plus is slightly skewed to the female audience, my audience is slightly skewed to be more male demographic. And then you can see age range and a whole lot of different stats and information and intelligence into where most of your audience is coming from, and certainly what time of day your audience is interacting. So you can see with me, I've got from early morning and late evening is when most of the action's happening. So that is something I always try and look at, and particularly if I'm pre-scheduling posts, this is where I go and have a look at where at what times I should be most engaging with my audience. Now, last but not least, you would see this little person with the plus sign. And what this essentially means is Instagram suggests people for you. So it's got some suggested people to follow. You've got Facebook connections, so how you can connect Facebook friends through to your Instagram. Now, I don't tend to do, depending on your strategy, but I find Facebook friends, I am on the platform for business purposes, so I kind of tend to leave my personal Facebook account separate to this, and that's where it's taking this information from, your personal Facebook connections. And then you can see there on the third one is actually taking your contacts from your phone. So again, depending on what you want to use Instagram for, and I will take it that most of you are here for business, we want to look at different ways that we can connect to drive our audience. Now, the three little dots at the end, that goes into your settings. So certainly when I spoke to you earlier about setting your profile to business as opposed to your personal account, this is where you would scroll down and make that happen. But at the very least, what I want to drive your attention to is to find here linked accounts, because what I want you to do there, that's where you can link your Facebook business page and your Twitter account, and if you have an account like Tumblr, this is where I want you to link those to your other business assets on social media platforms. And so you can see at a glance how many profile visits you've had in the last 7 days, and you can normally gauge how well you've done by the activity, or how active you've been on the platform and how much you've shared. Now, your Instagram If you have multiple accounts, and now I'm showcasing to you, I have my personal branded account, because a lot of what I do is my personal service to the industry. So I have my personal business account, which is my name. Then I have a Tourism Hub account for the podcast that I do, and I've only recently launched my business brand account, being Be Excellent HQ. Now, for you as well, if you want to take that same path and consider having your personal branded account as well as your business account, you can traverse between the two. So if you add a new account onto your listing, you would see this little arrow pointing down next to your primary account, and then it will showcase to you your 3 different accounts that you want to interact from, which is an excellent feature. Back in the day, you used to have to log in and out, and you couldn't traverse between accounts. So this is a very welcome update, which is a while back now, probably about 2 years ago this was updated, but it does certainly make life a lot easier. When it comes to you actively growing your followers and growing your community, you can go in and see who is following you. So when you click on following and followers, you can not only see accounts and business and personal profile accounts that are following you and that you can make a follow back and connect directly with your followers. You can also do this with other accounts, so with competitors or other complementing accounts in the industry or in your regional destination, that you can go in and see who's following who, and followers that are following different brands, and also who the brands are following. So I like to look at, say, for example, your local regional tourism destination, marketing destination, look at who they're following and who's following them, because that's the audience that you also want to attract. And further to that, also your industry associations, like your state tourism industry council, your state tourism industry body, Tourism Australia. Always look at, I will always go and do, that's part of, you can make that part of your community growth strategy, that from time to time you can go in there and give other accounts some love, business and also influential accounts that you can see. You can make those connections when it comes to travel writers, when it comes to influencers, and that's your average Joe Blows that have built their own audience and community. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So you can see here, if I go on to who I'm following, and you can do that too, you can go onto my account and see who I'm following, and you might find a lot of people there, from anywhere from tourism people to marketing leaders like Darren Rouse, a Melbourne guy that's a really well-known globally for his blogging influence. So you can do that with mine, and certainly with anyone's. And then further to this, I mentioned earlier just how important hashtags are in the platform, and you can go in and look at following, and just look at all the main hashtags that people have been using in their posts. So you can see here from mine, if you were to go and look at all of the hashtags that I tend to use, you'll see a big library there of tourism, digital, and social media marketing hashtags that you can also build into your armor. Now we're going to look at the very bottom of your page. So you'll see at the bottom there, you've got the home screen, and that will always take you back to your main feed. To the right of that, you'll have your search button, and that's where you can go and search for accounts, for people, for businesses, and for hashtags. And you can see here, if we look at your search, this is what it looks like. And now Instagram has really populated the most popular posts, most popular stories, most popular videos. And it really takes those algorithms into by way of how many people are interacting with those to gain or assess or determine virality and popularity that it can feature these accounts onto their main search. Now, to get onto here is it's a big deal by way of attracting a larger audience. If any of your content is featured here, you can expect your profile to really take a next step in growth. You can see here when you look at search, you can search the top searched accounts or suggested and most recent of what you've searched. You can look at people and who are individuals, tags. So when, say for example, here I've done a search on the hashtag travel, and I want to see how many times, how many people and posts have used that hashtag. And as you can see, it's an absolute monster, 282,000, or well, almost not thousand, million. So 282 over 282 million posts using the hashtag travel. And this is where you can gain some inspiration around, other popular hashtags that, again, I say put it into your hashtag treasure box to use into your posts as well, because this all becomes, it's like optimization. All of this becomes a big library. It becomes a kind of an Instagram onto itself. So you really want to be looking at that, and I'll be going into more of how you can build your hashtag strategy. Now, also, I've added in this hashtag travel. I can click onto places, and then it will give me all the top places in my location of where I said I am from, and in my surrounds. So here you can see it's given me Expo and some travel agencies and some main travel accounts or locations, physical bricks and mortar locations. And this is how people can search for you. So as tourism businesses and property, accommodation and operators, a lot of businesses, a lot of the stats say that when travelers or visitors, they're booking their main skeleton of their flights, accommodation, but certainly when it comes things to do, that is something that is growing more and more, that it's done through mobile search and mobile bookings. And Instagram is definitely one of those key sources that people look to for inspiration. Now, going back to the bottom, so we looked at the home page, we looked at search. Now we're looking at the main body of how you can share a post, and that's right in the middle with that plus sign there. So if you hit this plus sign, you've got three options. You can go to your library, your actual photo library on your camera, or you can take a photo or a video directly through the Instagram platform. So if I want to take a photo, you would just tap that little, it's quite big, the big white button in the middle, or you can press and hold to record a video. And I really like this press and hold to record feature, because it can really look like you can really do something that will not require any further editing. So you can press and hold a recording and then stop it, then turn it to selfie mode, then press and hold a recording again. Then you can go walk to another location if you were to do a little tour of your property or of your venue, and then go take something else. Then so it's have a go. I really like the video feature within the Instagram platform, but have a play with that one. Last but not least, there are a couple more features down the very bottom of your Instagram account to go through. Now, the little heart. Instagram, it's not a thumb like, it's all about the heart love. So this is where you can see who's giving you the love. So when you click on your heart down the bottom, right next to the plus sign to the right, you can see who has engaged with your content, who has liked comments you've written, liked your posts, followed you and made a comment on your posts. And then you'll see next to you there's following. You can also go in and see who your followers are liking. So you can see what type of content are your followers and other accounts, what other accounts they're liking and commenting on. So this is another way that you can kind of look a little bit deeper into your audience and their Instagram behavior. Last but not least, when you want to go back to center and back to your page, that's on the bottom right hand corner. You'll see your profile picture, which is the very same as the top here. And when you tap on this, you just go back to your account and back to your page. Now, I also want to draw your attention to, you can see there within your profile, editing your profile, you can add in your phone number so your audience can click to call you directly. You can add your email where they can click to email directly. And this is where, as I showed earlier, when we're looking at places, when through search and location, once you can pop in your directions here and your audience can easily find you if you have a physical location. And just below there you could see there's a grid. So this is essentially how you can view what your preference is. You might want to, I like to look at mine as a grid, and normally that's the default, or you can look at it by one post at a time. So visually you might like to still stay as a grid or change it at one post at a time. And then this other next to this, the little profile picture there that has, I've got a notification of it's got a ping. So where you see that there's a notification, that is telling me that someone has tagged me in a photo. So I can go into that and see who's tagged me in their photo. So sometimes people don't necessarily need to mention you. They can go in and tag a photo of you, which I'll go through with you a little bit later. So I hope you found that valuable. We've looked at what do all those little symbols mean up the top and the bottom, and we'll move on to our next piece of learning, all to do with Instagram. Now let's look at some Insta heroes, where we can look a little bit deeper into tourism businesses and destinations alike, where they are doing really, really well, and for us to take some inspiration to model and engage and take note of what some of the strategies that they use that we can implement into our businesses. Number one is definitely the Tourism Australia main consumer account, which you can follow at Australia. Now, they've really catapulted themselves as number one destination marketers at the way that they really approached and used Instagram to leverage this global phenomenon of a community around the Australia brand. And Tourism Australia really also gave light to the term user-generated content. Now you can see the photos and the images on the Australia account are all absolutely stunning. So as a visual library, a catalogue of the best experiences and destinations this country has to offer. Now let's look a little bit deeper at what Tourism Australia have done. So I'm looking at this stingray photo in the top middle here. It's had 89,000 likes, 89,000 heart loves, and 689 comments. Now, how did Tourism Australia capture this photo? When we look a little bit deeper and we tap onto this post, you can see here that Tourism Australia have taken this photo from the account at Emily Terrace Ward, but they've put their own little spin. So this is what we call repurposing. They've taken an image that has been shared on a personal account, so it can be a personal account which has public access. However, the fact that this account Emily Terrace Ward used the main hashtag See Australia. She has given as Tourism Australia, and in fact, anybody that wants to use that same hashtag, permission to repost her photo. If I go back now, or you can see up the top here of the actual Tourism Australia bio, they let you know that Tourism Australia's official account, tag at Australia, or use the hashtag See Australia or hashtag Restaurant Australia to give us permission to repost. So actually having that as a bit of a statement in their bio gives them, they don't have to go and seek in a private message or reach out to an email to Emily to say, can we use your photo? They've already stated that, hey, you want us to repost your photo to our 2.9 million follower audience, just use the hashtags, and that's essentially how they find their library of amazing photos from professional photographers and just from visitors enjoying their destination. And that is something for all of us to take note and to model, because you can imagine what it would be worth for Tourism Australia to be constantly engaging in professional photography. But this gives credibility to another level because it's actual real visitors from their eyes and what they're experiencing, which is gold and highly valuable. So you can see here Tourism Australia have taken this post and giving it absolute new life, and that's what repurposing content is. It's taking something that is already done. You have not came up with the original concept, but you are repurposing or remodeling and restructuring the way in your, you're making it your own by putting in your own copy. And you can see here they've actually hashtagged specific destination posts and regional tourism organisations. So this was in Margaret River, Western Australia. So Tourism Australia have used all their assets to then bring in all of those regional destinations to showcase exactly where this location is. Now, if we kind of look at the original post, this is what it looks like. Emily just said, hey there, making friends with stingrays at Hamlin Bay. There's no tag of where it is. I mean, she's mentioned where she is, but certainly there's no pinging anywhere. But where you can see here is is that Western Australia found this picture, and Western Australia used the Instagram to reach out just in a public comment forum to Emily to say, great pic, can we share this on our socials? And that is then where Tourism Australia found it, and you can see now how they've really repurposed and made this their own and given this image a completely new life. Another example, so regional destination here in Victoria, Sea High Country, and they have taken the same approach where for those who love holidaying in Victoria's High Country, tag at Sea High Countries being the official account, or they've said use the hashtag Sea High Country to give us permission to share. And then we go into this first image, which I absolutely love. A rider, a cyclist has taken the photo, and you just feel like you're right there with him. And they've repurposed this photo. So you can see here, Sea Country has said, a lovely evening ride on the back road of the Buckland Valley, watching the sun dip behind the magic Mount Buffalo. And they've just put a little camera there and added in that it's come from Bright Biker. So there are two different ways Tourism Australia actually embedded Emily's name within as being the original source, but then they've also put down the bottom photo Emily Terrace Ward. So this is really important when you're repurposing. It doesn't mean you can just go and take photos from other people's accounts without crediting. The most important thing when you are repurposing someone else's photos is that you always, always, always credit the original source. So even though Tourism Australia may have found this photo from Western Australia because they originally reached out to Emily, Tourism Australia have done the right thing and they haven't credited Western Australia for being the main the main source, even though that's where they found them. They're crediting the main photographer, which it was Emily. And in the same way here, the Sea High Country have just used a little emoji of a camera and said Bright Biker and then put the appropriate hashtags there. I like this as I talk a lot about using the platform as a way to network and create smart collaborations. I like what Echuca Paintball have done here. So regional activity to do in the country town, Victorian town of Echuca. But you can see here what the team have done. They've experienced a local product and they've gone and tagged them that they're at Cheeky Grog Company and said something worth a mention, slushy cider, and they've tagged the business. So this is also a lovely way not to attract and build relationships between you and the visitor and the consumer. It's also an amazing way for you to collaborate and show some love and give some exposure to local businesses that in your local and your regional destination where you play. So we always want to take that approach and put that in the mix to not always be about ourselves. Also, ensure you're showcasing, because now what Echuca Paintball have done, they have essentially they've shared this business onto their audience, but by tagging them and specifying that that's the location where they're at, Cheeky Grog Co. is also going to receive that little ping notification that Echuca Paintball has given them a shout out. And then you can start this wonderful little, wonderful relationship. And in turn, they hopefully will do the same. Now, take that next level. You can kind of wish that they do the same, or you can collaboratively get together with other partners, partners you package with, other friends in tourism that you have, and be strategic about sharing your different posts on each other's content. It is another way to get the same audience. It's good business because it gives you new content, and it's good for your audience because it gives them some variety of other things to do. Another example here of a local tour operator, Localing Tours. Now, their bio, I like what they've done there. They've used some emojis to showcase all the different types of tours that they do. So they do tours for people who don't like tours day and night, all through Melbourne and Victoria. And then it's kind of specified that they do city tours, night tours, wine tours. They go to Penguins and 12 Apostles. And they've also got their website there. Now, check this out. They have repurposed a TripAdvisor testimonial, and they have gone on and to make a graphic out of this. And so they've said that basically this has come from TripAdvisor up to the top. They've copied and pasted what the review mentioned, and they've added that it was 5-star and it was from Wendy. And I really, really love this approach in terms of adding a mix to your content. So this is a great way and a great thing for you to do also in terms of how you can repurpose what is being said about you. So all those glowing reviews, don't just leave them in TripAdvisor. Give life to them so you can use them on Instagram, Facebook, onto Twitter or Pinterest and other social media assets that you have going on. So I really like that. Another thing that I really, really loved about what Localing Tours does is they're showcasing the people behind their business. And I'd love to see more of this, showcasing your team. So here they're introducing Sharon, a teacher turned guide who loves her in-depth knowledge of Melbourne and passion. So they're saying a little bit more about where Sharon's from. But what I love that they've done even further is that they've also made this into a blog post. And this is where the rubber hits the road of using Instagram as a vehicle to drive traffic back to your website. So by actually blogging about their guides, it not only shows that they have, a point of difference, that they have locals who absolutely love and adore Melbourne, and that's the reason why they get out of bed each morning. They have a new assets, a new reason for people to click through out of Instagram and onto the platform, which is essentially, we're in business. We want people to not, we want to grow our communities, but we also want them to get them closer to where they can book from. Most important thing for you to note, my dear friends, is that you are the editor-in-chief of your beautiful online glossy magazine. And this is what we want your Instagram profile and your Instagram account. We want to treat it with that respect, that we want to showcase the best of ourselves, not just one side. So we really want to get that content mix. We really want to give variety to our content to showcase all the wonderful things that you do. And I hope you've drawn some inspiration from those accounts that we've just shared. Welcome to Lesson 2, Instagram 101. Now, the goals for this lesson, we're going to go through Instagram marketing overview, your content themes, so the what. We looked at a lot about the why and the how. Now it's what can we share, and some context around hashtag strategy and some hashtag love to complement the content that you put out there to really leverage and optimize your posts. Note for the lesson: hire people who create content by nature, not arm twisting. You don't want content to be a chore. This is from Mike Volpe. This is so true. Whoever you have in charge of the content for not just your Instagram, just your social media in general, you really want to make sure that they love it, because if it's a chore, then it will be reflected in how it's communicated. So the more love there is into sharing, the more love there is into caring, the more love you will receive back. Content tell the story of your brand. One of the most important things when it comes to any of your digital marketing activities is being able to create, recreate, and share the most relevant, timely, and consistent content that you can to share the story of your brand and the essence of why you do what you do. So when you are looking to attract the right audience, you have to really get connected to who is it that you want to bring into your community. And the clearer you are to the person you most want to serve, the easier it will be to create that content and connect with your audience, and then ultimately convert to that sales funnel through to a conversion to a booking. Okay, so it's really important that you get clear about who it is. And what I always share with clients is the clearer we are and we can visualize and be connected to that one ideal visitor, then the flow and effect from that just gets easier and easier to be able to serve them in what you write, what videos you take, the language that you use, and certainly the culture and the brand that you want to most and best represent. What are you selling? If you're not clear about your business map, marketing and sales goals and your efforts will fall flat. So it's really important that you know, what is it? There's the physical product and of what you do, your physical product and services of what you do, but essentially, what experience are you selling? What feeling are you selling? What emotions are you selling? So this is where, when we kind of get into storytelling and story sharing, we ultimately want to achieve what is it that we want our audiences, our customers, our present customers, our future customers, what do we want them to feel at any touch point of their engagement with us? And the most important that we can't neglect is what is happening even before they've stepped foot in our business, that we want to be able to build these emotional connections, right, and keep on building them to as they go through that process of getting to know us and getting to really love what we're about, and then trusting us enough to come and join our experiences. A fundamental challenge, though, with many, many businesses is not knowing what to post and not knowing what to create and what to share. So, hopefully, I can unpack this that will really serve you in being able to create a plan and a strategy around the content that you can share on your Instagram feed. Now, your content must absolutely be relevant to what is happening now in your business, timely, and definitely consistent. There is nothing more disappointing to your audiences when they come in to connect with you on a platform like Instagram, and then they see that you may not have posted for 3 months, or that you've posted today but then they hear nothing from you again. So being consistent with your efforts is something that I definitely want you to take on board. But I never know what to create. So here is a whole list of different options of you to look at what you can create. Yes, definitely looking at your products and services, we want that to be in the mix. What I do advocate, though, is you want it to really be a mix of 80 to 20, 80-20 rule to apply. 80% of the time, I want you to be sharing, things about collaborations with others, testimonials, like inspirational, educational, things that really are going to add value to your audience. And the more we can add value, or at least if we're aiming to add value and inspire and empower 80% of the time, then we earn the right and at 20% of the time to be able to promote what we do. So, important content consideration. What is it in your profile, in your posts, and in the stories that you share? What's in it for your audience? How is it going to benefit them? And I would really, anything that you write and create, I want you to go into it thinking about that, not how it's benefiting you. How is this going to benefit my audience? It's definitely really, really, really important that this isn't about us. It's about our followers. It's about adding value to them. Acknowledging how people are engaging with your content right now. So really go and do an analysis and a bit of an audit as to what kind of content is really resonating. And we showed you in the earlier lessons when we looked at when we did the tour of Instagram, in looking at intelligence and ways and analytical tools within the app that you can go and really kind of get a feel for what they are engaging with and what they do like at the moment. And what is this really about for your people and your community? And I want you to really it's the emotional economy. We say it is the sharing economy, and certainly emotional connectivity is always what wins when it comes to being social. Just like we are in social in any other of our relationships, the same thing applies here. Welcome to creating a hashtag strategy as we move through our Instagram marketing for tourism course. Now, something that really defines Instagram specifically for tourism is the way that we apply a hashtag strategy to optimize all of our posts. So let's talk about hashtags and explain a little bit deeper about what they are and how they can help you grow your Instagram account and also attract the right audience to your Instagram account, and also, of course, build engagement. So this is essentially the pound sign, or hash as it turns out, which entails and allows you to organize your content and track discussions on topics based on these keywords. For example, hashtag Visit the Murray is a specific hashtag to a Victorian regional destination where they have put resources and established that for this particular destination, this is the hashtag that we will use as a regional marketing organisation, and also what the Murray Regional Tourism will want all of their operators and anyone visiting the region use this hashtag as well. Now, you can optimize your posts on Instagram with up to 30 hashtags in total. And generally, what I recommend and what is recommended is to have anywhere between 1 to 4 hashtags in the main body of your post. Essentially, look, if you want to do even 5 maximum, but no more than that, and I'll explain deeper as to why this is the case. Now, the flip side to that is that you can also use up to the remaining of the 30. So say if you've used 4 in your main status update, the remaining 26 you can use in the first comment of that particular post, so that you can gain the benefit of optimizing your content and using all of those 30 hashtags that are specific to what it is you're talking about and exactly who you want to reach using those terms. Here's an example of this. So this one is an example that I put out there, and you can see in the main body of my post, which is above the line, you can see I've got some content around my Decoding Digital course, and then I've tagged Visit the Murray in this particular post. So Visit the Murray engaged me to do this training for them. So to give them the love, this is an excellent way to collaborate with other tourism businesses and your local destination marketers by tagging it. So by using the @ symbol and actually specifying any business or person's Instagram address will automatically give them a little ping, a little notification to let them know that you've mentioned them in your post. Now, further down in here, I've used 3 additional hashtags: a hashtag Be Excellent, a hashtag Digital Marketing, and a hashtag Content Creation. Now, all of these terms have their own following, you could say, or catalog of all different accounts from around the world that have also used these hashtags, because now this is important because we are not only searching accounts, but we can also be findable and searchable through our terms and the hashtags that we use. Now, below the line, this is where all the comments come into place. And where I have put my remaining hashtags is in the first comment. So this under the line here is actually my first comment, the first comment on this particular post, which I've gone in and placed my remaining hashtags. And you can see here how I further optimize the post by hashtagging the content of the post. It's all about digital marketing. So I've put in hashtag SEO, hashtag online biz, hashtag SMM for social media marketing, hashtag digital marketing, content marketing, and so forth. And all of those, if we were to go into Instagram and search for all those terms, they will have an amazing catalog of images that are associated with them. Here's an example of this. So say if I was to search Australia, I can search by the top searched hashtags. I can search by the top people or accounts for the Australia term, or I can come in here and search by tags. So you can see at the very top here, the hashtag Australia as a hashtag has over 43 million posts associated with that. And then further down, you can see some recommendations of other popular hashtags that are using that have Australia within it. So if I was a farm, or it's a particular showcasing animals and dogs in particular, this would definitely be a hashtag that I would be putting in the vault. And this is a sure key way for you to gain and organize your top 30 hashtags for your category of posts that you would share. And I'll go into explain a little bit more about that. But certainly if your business is, for example, accommodation, you could pop in accommodation into the search bar, and then you will have a great list of suggestions of other most popular hashtags around that term, accommodation. Now, what Instagram have recently also introduced is the ability to follow hashtags as you would an account. So I use Be Excellent as my little movement, as like my little message to the world for us to all strive and be excellent in our day-to-day lives. Now, it turns out another 17,000 people also love the term Be Excellent. So what I've done is you can go once you go into the search term, you can actually start following that term as you would an Instagram account. So then it can pop up on your feed when new posts are made using that term. So when I scrolled a little bit further down, there are my 3 posts that I've optimized with the Be Excellent hashtag. And this is essentially the aim of the hashtag game, that you want to feature in popular terms for your region, for your industry, for your destination, for your state, for Australia. For example, See Australia is definitely another one that you'd want to put into your armor. So this, to explain again, if this is not my account, this is a hashtag that I want to feature in. So in all of my posts, I make an effort to tag hashtag Be Excellent, and then I come up and I feature into these accounts. It's not only optimizing for you to be able to feature in the library of images, it's also a great way of people to find you visually. So someone that is a cold Instagram audience for you, so cold, I mean someone that's never heard of you, never seen you, doesn't know about you, when these types of Instagram users might search a hashtag, these are the way that they can also find inspiration for what they're looking for. Now, in this list here, now I've done this for the state of Victoria. The state of Victoria in Australia has 11 regional destinations. Now, this is an example of tourism Instagram accounts and hashtags that they are complemented by. For example, the main Tourism Australia Instagram account is @Australia, okay? But what Tourism Australia have educated us and showed us is that, or their users, is to use the hashtag See Australia or hashtag Restaurant Australia to be able to feature into their account. Now, this means that it's not only for users and visitors to use, and that's not the only way that Tourism Australia social media team get their inspiration on what they're going to repost into their 1-point-something million followers. It's also a great way for tourism businesses to always make sure that you post your awesome images with the hashtag See Australia and hashtag Restaurant Australia if that is relevant to the post as well. The other thing to mention there is that it's a really good idea if you have any professional photographers or any popular Instagrammers that might be coming to join you for your experience. It's also worth educating them and letting them know that when they post your product and your experience onto their account, that they also use these hashtags, okay? So this is for everyone. This particular account and hashtags is valid, and I encourage every Australian tourism business to do. Now, if you are a Victorian business, Melbourne or otherwise, this is also the official Visit Victoria Melbourne account that you'd want to follow, and then these are the hashtags that you'd want to optimize your post with. So hashtag visit Melbourne, hashtag visit Victoria, hashtag Wonder Victoria. Now visit Melbourne, visit Victoria, that's more internationally, an internationally recognized campaign of what the Visit Victoria marketing geniuses have done. Wonder Victoria was more for a domestic campaign, but I would certainly add that in the mix and add that into your armor of hashtags. And then you can see, for example, if you're a Mornington Peninsula business, you would then go on and add your Find Your Way Mornington Peninsula. Now this is, again, it's got thousands and thousands of posts that are used that hashtag because it's what the regional tourism organisation have put resources towards. So I really want you to go and do your research for your if you're in this course coming in from overseas, I want you to really do your research on what your country's tourism organization's Instagram account is and what their preferred hashtag is. I want you to look at your own state. So if it's Tourism New South Wales or Visit New South Wales or Visit WA, I want you to look at your state tourism authority and organisation, and then I want you to go down and look in your own backyard of your regional tourism organisation and your local tourism organisation. What are their main accounts and what's their preferred hashtag for you to use as a collective for your region? There's something that I definitely advocate. This is where I go into. It's not just about Instagram. This is about collaborating together. So it's not just about me and my business. It's about we and helping each other promote our destination, our region, our state, our country. So this is where, as the bigger the collective, the more we can attract. So I hope that is helpful and useful to you, and and it makes all of the difference by way of you being found, but it's also an amazing way for you to collaborate with each other. So this is just the regional tourism organizations. Take the next step and actually do this for your partners and other businesses that you collaborate with. So the hashtag formula that I would recommend is for the 4 hashtags in your main post to use. First and foremost, build your own hashtag. So for example, if you're Despina's Bed and Breakfast, my hashtag that I want to promote is hashtag Despina B&B. Okay, so use in the first instance, use your own hashtag and then go on to use hashtag See Australia, hashtag Visit Victoria, and hashtag your region. Going by that example that I just said, it would be hashtag Find Your Way Mornington Peninsula if Despina's B&B was in Mornington Peninsula. So if you're not in Victoria, I would still recommend you use hashtag See Australia and then just add in your state's main preferred hashtag. For example, if you're New South Wales, it would be Visit New South Wales and your region. And then in your comment would be your 21st, your other hashtags that you would go and build. Now that we know the importance of hashtags and optimizing our posts, particularly in the wonderful industry of tourism, we need to have a look at some tools and share with you how we'll be able to accumulate these hashtags or know which ones are the right ones to choose. Because certainly what we need to address here is that it's not about what we think is popular, it's about what is already being used and popular with our audiences. So let's delve into number 1 is, as I shared earlier, is to actually use the search functionality in the Instagram platform, in the app, or on the desktop version. You could go in and pop in any term, any keyword or phrase, remembering that there must not be a space. It's all in one word, and then you can see a flow-on effect from that keyword that you've chosen and other popular trends within the hashtagosphere. Another great tool for you to take note of and have a play with is Hashtagify. Now you can use this as a free version. A lot of these tools also have paid versions to go along with them, but certainly this is a great freebie tool that you could come in, and you can see here it's already the default tab is on the hashtag, and you can pop in I've used Australia again, and then what it will do is will populate the top 10 other related hashtags around that key hashtag Australia. And you can see some other metrics here by way of popularity, recent popularity, the monthly trend, week trend, and in the bottom right here you can also see some top influencers around that particular term. Another tool to share with you is keyhole.com. Sorry, not that's not a typo. There's actually no M at the end. It's just keyhole.co. Now this little tool is actually great for a number of things. Hashtag is the default, and that's where you can start with, but you can also find other accounts that you can track, keywords for your search engine optimization, and if you're looking to kind of put your content together or write a blog post, this is also a great tool. But let's keep a focus for the hashtag. You can pop in again. I've popped in hashtag Australia, and down the bottom here you can actually select either Twitter or Instagram or both, and then you can look at some metrics. Again, there is a paid version. Certainly from a freemium or from a free version point of view, you can also get a lot more. I think there's definitely plenty more extending beyond those top 10 hashtags. So you can come in here and get a sample of other related and searched hashtags around that term that you enter into the platform. So there's another one to add in the vault. Now, if you want to see, this tool is fantastic, and it's called hashaddit.com, and this is where you can actually use this tool as a way that you can pop in your hashtag, so your name, the name of your business or the name of the hashtag that you ultimately want to build, and you can come in here and see all of the mentions that it's had. So this is a great way for you to populate or use it as almost like where you see where other platforms globally where your business has been mentioned. Now I've popped in here just as an example. This is a beautiful, one of the newest properties out in Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, and I've added in here in the top right hand corner Jackalope Hotels, and as you search through, it's populated all of the content from different accounts from Instagram and Twitter where Jackalope Hotels has been mentioned. And you can see up the top here, is a trade and event company in San Francisco that's mentioned them and said, inspiration for event and design can be found where you least expect it. So there's a great mention. And when we talked earlier about smart collaborations and being able to keep your finger on the pulse and know what other accounts are mentioning you, just so then you can comment back, you can like it, you can follow each other. This is a fantastic way to build and start and grow relationships. And here's another mention, that Jackalope Hotel. So this populated through the Hashaddit platform, that they also got a mention in the National Geographic Traveller in UK. So you can see they became a runner-up. Now this might be something that they already knew about, but when you kind of start becoming popular and growing your account, you really don't want to miss really important mentions like this. So that is a great way that you can actually, so that is a great way for you to keep your finger on the pulse and know when you've had a mention. Let's have a look now how you can activate your hashtag strategy. How can you bring this all together so that it's seamless and easy for you to be able to have at the ready your 30 hashtags, 4 to put in your post, or up to 4 for your post, and the remainder in a first comment. Here I'd like to share some more tools with you. When I initially started doing this and categorizing my posts, I would use the simplest tool that we all have available to us, whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you all have the app for a notes application. So the way I would do this, I would, for example, one of my categories that I would often post about and still do is tourism related content. So I went and did my research in all of my different categories and then popped all of those hashtags into the notes on my phone. So then when it came to posting, I could easily copy my 2 to 4 hashtags, paste into my original comment into the status update, and then once that post was made, then go back into my notes and collect and copy the remaining hashtags and pop into the first comment. Now I've moved on to a project management tool called Trello. There are other tools like this. There's also something like Evernote that some of you might enjoy. There are plenty of out there. You can just go out and do a Google search. One that I definitely really enjoy, and side note, it is free. I really enjoy Trello. Now this is also, it's an application and it's also a website, www.trello.com. And what it essentially is a project management tool where you build project boards. And the way I use Trello is I've built an Institute of Excellence social board, and within that board I have all of my different categories of hashtags at the ready. So what this looks like essentially, so if I go into my Institute of Excellence board, I have just in the same way that you saw earlier with my hashtags, it's very similar. Every board has the 30 hashtags for different. So I've got, say for example, I've got 30 hashtags for tourism. I've got them for travel because it's a very different type of post. If I'm out and about traveling somewhere, that's a travel post, where if it's something that is industry specific, I would put that into as a tourism post. There's my digital marketing hashtags, then I have my social media marketing hashtags, then I have my Instagram hashtags and my Facebook hashtags. So I've got about 30 different boards depending on what it is, what that particular post is. And this is what it looks like in real terms of onto the platform. So here you can see what I've highlighted up the top. I've written a post about surprise. It's actually quite ironic. It's this particular post that I've done a screenshot of just to show you the process is of Jackalope Hotels on my Tourism Hub account. So here I have gone and at the ready copied and pasted just a few hashtags. The main name is Tourism Hub. I've also credited that this is Jackalope Hotels. I've put Sea Australia, Wander Victoria, and then specific to the region where Jackalope Hotels is Find Your Way Mornington Peninsula. And then once I have popped and finished up my status update, I would go in and then give some tagging love. So as much as I've used the hashtags to optimize the post, now I actually want to use the Instagram platform to collaborate with other businesses and accounts by tagging the image. In this instance, you can tag by, as soon as you hit that little tag area of tag people, it will bring you up. It will either already populate tags that you've mentioned into your post, or you can search for a person or a business. So it doesn't really discriminate between a business or a person account here. You could just search for, like, for example, all of these are business accounts. And they've come up just because they were the last tagged businesses that I've used, or you can go in and search. Now, this is something that you have to be really careful. Sometimes it's not very clear what the official account is, particularly if you're looking at, you want to tag your regional account. So you want to make sure that you are tagging the right account. So sometimes before this step, you might want to go in to the websites and go in natively to an Instagram account through the website, just so you're absolutely sure that you are tagging the right account. So once you do that, this is what then that looks like. So then when you tap on the image, it actually will come up with the accounts, and all of these can be driven and clickable through to those official accounts. And location is very important. So we'll talk a little bit more about geo tagging and location tagging, but it's very, very important that you also tag your own location. Now, this could be a bit of a mix between the city that you're in, your own specific location of where you're at the moment, your region. So you could do a variety of different things, but normally it will populate. And if you've got your location settings in your phone, remembering Instagram, very much a mobile app first, it will populate where you are first, where you are already. Otherwise, you can override it and add your own location. So in this instance, I'm not at Jackalope Mornington Peninsula. I am away from there, but I want to credit this photo. I credited the account, and I also tagged the photo with the account. I use the hashtag, and I want to specifically tag the location as well. And then this is what it looks like. So I've tagged 5 people in this photo. I've used my hashtags in the top image, and now I'm ready to share the post. And that's what it looks like. So see, now I've tagged the actual photos, and I've used the hashtag in the main post of the account. And then moving forward, when I tap on the image, I've also tagged these businesses and accounts, including my own and other accounts. This is a very important thing to note, that if you always also tag your own account into your images. So for example, this is my Tourism Hub account. I've also tagged it with Tourism Hub, because what I essentially want to, what we need to appreciate is that not everyone is going to find your account by coming to you, especially for those that know nothing about you. All of these reasons all of these ways of being found is through and everything that we're talking about, the hashtags, are other ways and other opportunities you can give your posts a new exposure. So by actually tagging your account too, gives you an opportunity for these new audiences to come in and lead them to you as well as your other friends. And then this is where I go into my Trello board. So I open up my app in Trello. I found here my tourism category of hashtags. I've highlighted them, and then I can hit copy, and in the first comment, click on paste. And then there we go. You can see there's one comment there, and that is me. And this is where now I fully optimized this particular post. But I've not only optimized it with hashtags, I've collaborated with another business. I've also collaborated with another region, and I've also tagged it with my own accounts to give me the best chance. So there's a checklist there for you to use your hashtags, tag other accounts, and definitely make it specific to this post. So you don't want to go in there doing random hashtags that are not aligned with the content of what actually is in your post. Now with this particular account, with this particular post, I had to actually go back because there's something very, very important I forgot to do here. So I went back and edited the post by adding in a little camera, and I could very well also say photo, and then tagged Jackalope Hotels again, just to be on the safe side. I want people to know that this image actually came, the original source is from the hotel themselves. It's not my picture. And that important thing to note, to reiterate, that when you are using other images from other people's accounts, you must always credit the original source. So even though I have already acknowledged Jackalope Hotels in the status of my post here, I have also, just to be safe as protocol, I will always go in and make mention of where the original source of this particular image came from. It's a good practice for you to also engage in when you are sharing other people's photos. I want to share with you now 5 key Instagram content themes for you to consider for your tourism business. Number 1 is education. What can my audience learn from me and my business and organization? Here's a great example of what the Royal Botanic Gardens in Victoria do with their account. They've themed their Friday post to Flowering Friday, and every Friday they will feature a beautiful flower and let us know exactly everything we need to know about this particular flower. So in this instance, they've shared with us about the hakea. So they're using the platform and using part of their mix of content to educate the audience on something unique that they are experts in, that their audience would look forward to receiving on that particular day, in this instance on Fridays. Inspiration. So how can I brighten my audience's day? Quotes are fantastic for some inspiration. Here's an example of what Villa Marcolina, a beautiful property in Yeppoon, up northern Queensland. They've shared a gorgeous sunset, and they've just said, you never cease to amaze me, Yeppoon. So they've not only shared a view from one of their gorgeous villas, they've given love to their region and given some inspiration that, yes, take me there. So it's an inspired image, as if it really takes the audience sitting there to say, okay, where is this place? I want what they're having. So I really love that. Behind the scenes. So what aspects of behind the scenes of my business interests my audience? Now, a huge, big corporate account that does this really well is Qantas. I just love the personality and the behind the scenes that they share within their Instagram and their social media. So here's a Qantas flight attendant just having some fun, and they've asked their audience a question. Do you have an inspiring story about flying with Qantas? A family reunion, a first-time flying experience. So how engaging is this? They're having fun, they're inviting, and they're also asking some open-ended questions to drive engagement and get people to share their story. Because the more we can make it about our audience, remember, the more ability we have to connect and engage. Another opportunity or theme of how you can place your Instagram content is community focus. So what do I make my people feel part of? An example of this came from Mustang & Co. So this is a Mustang, literally a Mustang car company that do Mustang tours around the Great Ocean Road. And I love this. They've given love to the Great Ocean Road Chocolaterie. And they've come out there and said, okay, there's the Great Ocean Chocolaterie is having a brownie festival. Come on down, it finishes at June 24th. So again, they've made it about the community, not about what's happening with us and about us. This is what's happening within our local community. This is also our business partner that we take tours to. But overall, they're saying this is what's happening within our community. This is what's happening with our friends down the road. Come and be a part of it because it's going to end soon. And I really love that. We're putting that in the mix of your Instagram feed it's good for you, it's good for your business partner, and it's good for the greater good of your destination and community. Last but not least, to promote, but not from how can I sell you something, but how can I serve you something. And an example of this comes from a Chateau Yearing Hotel out in Yarra Valley in Victoria. Now I love this. They've launched a new winter menu, and they've gone and give some credit to say we have some clever chefs. Eleanor's winter menu has arrived in style. So see, it's not salesy, it's sharing a story. and it's showing this is what we have to serve. This is how we can help you. This is how we can serve you. So I really like this. It's more sharing, and it's more serving, less selling. And I like that they've gone and used this kind of collage theme as well, just to show the variety of the menu. You know, pictures tell 1,000 words, and doesn't that look enticing? So we also have to use the ability to promote what we do. So and that's where that's where the art form of Instagram comes into play. That we are here to grow our account, because essentially we want to align it to a business objective of growing our bottom line, of growing our brand, of growing our visitors. Okay, so this is where we really want to have that nice flow and effect, and a nice mix in the variety of what we're posting. I want to share with you around the context of variety and the content that we share on Instagram or any other social media network in that matter, the 80-20 rule. Now, this is something I certainly appreciated and learned from the masterful marketer Gary Vaynerchuk, particularly in one of his first social media books called Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And the whole concept of this is that 80% of the time you are jabbing your audience with valuable, educational, inspirational, aspirational, solutions focused content. Okay, so 80% of the time you are solving problems, and you are being interesting, and you are making it nothing to do about you and what you sell. But 20% of the time, once you've nailed that and done that really well, 80% of the time, then 20% of the time you've earned your right to promote and to sell. And the way I always share this with my students is that you just have to think about any type of media that you like to ingest and engage in. Be it your favorite TV show, be it your favorite magazine, it is jam-packed with inspiration, education, aspiration, value, and educational content, and then you come up with some type of advertisement, and you don't mind that because it's targeted to you and you're already being served up really good stuff. The flip side to that is that a lot of businesses have the misunderstanding of social media that it's 80% or some 100% promoting and selling and advertising, and only a minimal amount of doing the other stuff. And then it just becomes an infomercial, and then we're not socially engaging. We're just advertising, and no one loves to stick on the infomercial channel. So that's really important for us to think of 80-20 ratio of our content. Now, some theme examples to really put this into perspective for you. Now, we talked about some content types. Taking it the next step from that is to think about your content in themes, or in buckets, or in chapters, or in blocks or folders, okay? Now, here's some example of what some themes could be that you can adopt, from destination-specific post to behind-the-scenes post, like we saw with Qantas in a previous lesson. Partner post, business partners, neighbours, other businesses and services and products that complement what you do. Then, promotional posts, events, your events or others' events that are happening in your community. Like we saw in the example of Mustang & Co. using the Great Ocean Road Chocolaterie's brownie event. Customer stories, your products and your features. So you can see there, out of the 6 themes, if you were to post 7 days a week and take an example like this to theme out your events, out of the 7, 5 of those are all the good stuff that would fall into the 80% ratio, and 20% will fall into promoting and showcasing your product and your experiences. Here's what this could look like in a very, very simple one-page content theme planner. Okay, where Monday I'm going to share something about my product or share some user-generated content from other people's products. On Tuesday, I'm going to share something about my partner. Maybe I've got a package with someone, or maybe I've done a recent collaboration. Wednesday will be about my experience. Thursday, maybe something, a themed day for Thursdays. On Instagram particular, throwbacks. Maybe on Thursday will be the day I do a throwback and share a little piece of history around my business. Friday could be a testimonial. Saturday, destination, and Sunday could be a quote. Have a play with this. Move that around. I will have in your resources a blank copy of this that you can print and use for yourself. Change it up. Do it for a month. For the next month, I'm going to use this as my content theme planner and change it up every month. Imagine what that will do to the variety of your content. Now, another way to look at this is also to then plan your posts out in the way that the grid of your Instagram looks like. So if you're a visual person and you want to plan these things out with your images, you might want to use something like this, that you can go in and have a blank canvas, look at your themes, and then actually go and pre-populate the images that you want to share on your account, taking into effect of what that beautiful first nine grids are going to look like to make your ultimate best first impression when someone new comes to your account. So I hope you find these valuable for you to really get strategic and give yourself your best chance of winning on such a visual platform. So your content must always be relevant, timely, and the most important, if anything, to be consistent. It should be able to tell and share your story of your brand that connects, compels, and converts your followers to visitors. So once you can ensure and tick those boxes that your content can do those things, that be connecting and compelling, and then you have your best chance on converting those followers to visitors at your business and your destination. And the main key to this story and this Instagram story is that we want to be telling a lot more than we want to be selling. This is where the emotion and emotional connections matter. And for us to be doing that is through sharing and telling our story, first and foremost, over selling anything to anyone. Because the more we can tell in a compelling, captivating, educating, inspiring way, the more we can bring our audiences into our tribe and bring them through that funnel of awareness down through to converting them into a guest, into a passenger, ultimately into a visitor for your business. Welcome to lesson 3, building stories. In this lesson, we're going to cover Instagram stories and just decode and explain how they work and what you need to consider when you're sharing stories on Instagram, how to create an Instagram story, and growing your community using the stories feature. Now, it won't be the beginning of a lesson without a quote. And to kick off this lesson, the quote we're going to share is, because every picture tells you guessed it, story. Let's do this. Now, let's have a look at what are the significant differences between Instagram posts versus stories. When we're talking about Instagram posts, we're looking at the creative content that gives your audience visual inspiration. Your Instagram post, it lays within the front end of your Instagram. So this is the visible content as soon as your audience comes onto your Instagram account. When we're looking at Instagram stories, however, this allows you to post photos and videos in chronological succession to tell a story over the course of the day. These images do not appear in your regular collection of Instagram posts. Instead, after a 24-hour period, anything you've posted to your story will disappear. Of course, there are ways you can save these stories, and we'll go into that as we travel through the lesson. Now let's have a look at how Instagram stories work. To start with, we must recognize that all stories from different brand and personal accounts exist in the very top banner of your Instagram feed. So where you see the body of your account, where your Instagram feed exists, where you would scroll down, happens below the Instagram storyline. So here you can see highlighted the group of stories featured within at this particular time when this screenshot was taken. Now you can scroll to your left, or to your yes, to your left, and that will just keep showing you all of the accounts that you follow, and whoever is producing stories into their account, they will feature here. To actually capture a story, it is in the very top left hand corner, little camera icon that you can see there, that will open up your story window for you to capture. And there's a very quick example of what that could potentially look like. So as you can see, and the more you have a play, and many of you will have already had experienced or had a play within stories, but for those of you that are not familiar with stories, it is more of the candid, behind the scenes, more authentic and raw look at you and your brand. So it's a great way to continue sharing within the Instagram platform, but not feeling like it has to be too polished or perfect as your posts normally do for the front end of your Instagram account. So there's a quick snapshot, and we'll just keep delving further and further into the functionality of the stories feature. Now let's have a look at some of the story functions. When you first go onto stories, and remember when you're on your main account, top left hand little camera symbol will take you into your stories functionality. And the first thing you can see is you can either have your camera in front mode, or you can turn it into selfie mode if you wanted to take a piece to camera of yourself talking, or anything that you want to do in the reverse. But what you'll notice in the first instance, once you've taken a photo, so this is after I've just taken a snapshot, you can see there is 4 different functionalities in the top right hand corner. Now let's work through those to let you know what they all mean. Now the very first one, which has got the little downward arrow which signifies upload, pretty much means that once you tap on this arrow pointing down, it's going to save it onto your camera roll. So sometimes you might take a photo, but you actually don't want to share it onto your stories yet, so you might want to just save it onto your camera roll for later, and this is the way to do it. Now, if you did want to share a story that you don't actually want to take the photo live into from your stories function, you can just scroll up and it will automatically bring up everything that's in your camera roll. The only thing to note with that is it will only bring up what was taken in the last 24 hours. So it doesn't necessarily let you access your entire camera roll. So if you wanted to share something that's beyond 24 hours into your story, you'd almost have to duplicate it or take a screenshot of the photo so it comes back into the current state within that it's happening in the now. So stories is very much about what is happening right now in your world. Okay, so moving right along, you'll see another little kind of like smiley peel off sticker symbol. And that essentially means it gives you the default. You see there's 3 pages in here. The default goes in the middle. And what you'll notice, you have location, at mention, a hashtag. You can put in some GIF little videos. It'll show the current time. You can do polls. So you can do little, what do you think? I've done it sometimes before when I remember I had to choose an outfit for the Tourism Awards Gala, and in the changing rooms I would share it to my stories. What do you think, this one or that one? And it was really it was a lot of fun. You could see how cold it is and so forth, and it will also bring up the current day. So you can it's just some fun ways to make your stories interesting. But the top three by way of location, at mention, so this essentially means mentioning another account, and hashtag, all will optimize your stories. So that way, when someone is going through that search explore function in Instagram, you give yourself a chance of being featured, which is great for your account. So always make sure you have some type of that you register your location, mention, at mention, like we've mentioned earlier, collaborate, partner, region, and whatnot, and a hashtag. Your hashtag, regional hashtag, just something that will optimize your story. And then we move to the left, there's some more options there by way of emojis and some cute stickers. And then move to the right, and you've got some other cute stickers. You could put a hat on yourself or a guest, and other, it's all just, this is where you can play and have fun. Moving right along the top right hand corner again, now you see a little pencil or pen or texter, and really what that means is that you can use your finger as a pen and you can write over your image. You can draw, you can write, and down the bottom you can see you can also change color. So if you're the creative type or you just want to personalize your story, this is a great way. And then as you go, if you look up the top again now, there's some different, there's like a highlighter, there's a sprinkle, and you can also, there's a pencil so you can erase what you've done. As long as you haven't posted it yet and it's still open, you can erase it and start again. Now, as well as what we mentioned earlier, you can do an at mention through the sticker function. You can also just use the, if I go back, see this little, next to the pencil, there's a capital A and a small a. When you tap on that, really it means that you can type on top. And when you change that, where it says strong in the middle of the screen, at the top of the screen, that's where you can change your fonts and just make it a little bit more interesting. However, if you do add the at symbol at the front, this is another way you can tag a post. Here I've done at tourism, and as soon as I put the H after tourism, my tourism hub profile account come up straight away. So this is another way that you can further collaborate. Here's a snapshot of a story that I had taken on one of my days out and about. I've gone to a lunch. I've snapped my meal. This was at dessert. I've tagged the Sandringham Yacht Club where the event was, and I've also made a note just that it's dessert time. Now down the bottom left hand corner, you can also see with stories, you can actually see who has viewed your story. And then moving along, I've shared a story on the guest speaker. I've connected with her and tagged my story with her. Amazing way to collaborate. So by the time I've gone to introduce myself at the end of the event, she's already knows I'm the one that was tagging her in my post. And then I've taken a story of just paying a parking ticket forward because I had used it. I wasn't going to use. I was done with it well before the time expired, so I put it back in the parking ticket, just to show paying it forward. Good thing to do. Why let it go to waste? And then at the end of that day, I was off to interstate. So it's just showcased the behind the scenes of this is the day in the life of Desi Karatius, and this is something that you can employ in your business, of a day in the life of all that extra love and work and attention to detail that you put in. Here's a little, let me see if this will work. I've got a little video, so this is live of what happened live of what had come up on my stories of Four Pillars Gin in Yarra Valley and Sofitel Sydney. So what you can see here is their stories that they've shared throughout the day, and then how it presents to the user in a sequential journey, or as the feature suggests, as a story. So let's give that a play. So as you can see, it's just they've used some different features. There they've used a boomerang. Here they've used a boomerang too. They're saying the Gin Marmalade Station. They're adding their accounts, they're hashtagging, and they're having a great old time sharing the festivities of the day. They're sharing some staff stories. It was really, and as someone that hasn't been to Four Pillars Gin, it just looks like a really fun place to visit. And they've also shared and collaborated with what other parts of the world were doing during World Gin Day. And then as it goes through, so this is all of four. Now it's come to straight away go into Sofitel Sydney. See, so this is really cute. This is an actual Sofitel Sydney doing this. They've shared stories from their guests that have shared some 15-second videos. So I thought that was really, really clever use of collaborating and using the actual guests' content of how they see, that first walking into the room and looking at the view. So I thought that was very clever. And to be able to share a story, when someone's tagged you in a story and you go into into your back end, it's very easy then for you to be able to repost and share the story that's been shared, which is exactly what Sofitel Sydney did in this case. Now, 65% of Instagram users say they feel honoured when a brand mentions them. And that is a great way, again, to reignite, not only with your partners in collaborating and using the platform to mention by using the @ symbol and tagging other people, other business brand accounts, also to give love to the very people that keep us gainfully employed, our visitors and our guests, our customers, our clients. So if they're sharing anything on their socials of your business, it is an amazing way to solidify the relationship, and it gives your audience just a a real look at someone experiencing your product. So really get into Instagram with the real intention of collaborating and giving a lot of Instagram love. Let's go back to stories. So top left hand corner is where we want to be. And here we can see so we looked at live, and this here is another different way you can share a story too, where it doesn't require any video or any image. You can actually just type and for up an event, or can't spell an event, or maybe you've got a special that you want to share with your audience. So these are great. Even testimonials are fantastic for these text ads, which are great. And again, if you wanted to change up the text, you can. You can also, if you go into the bottom left hand corner, you can see a little circle with a colored circle. You can just tap on that, and you can just still maintain on brand, and depending on what it is that you're sharing. So this is another different way, and you've still got those options up the top right hand corner if you want to add stickers or hashtags or location and so forth. And if you were to do this, you would just hit your story again and away you go. So I'm going to tap on the top left hand cross there and disregard this post. And as we go through, you've got Boomerang, very popular, just creates kind of like this back and forward movement in a backwards motion. And it's a lot of fun when you do have moving, like people jumping or doing a happy dance is a lot of fun. And further to that, you've got Focus, Super Zoom is fun. I like this, it's quite dramatic. Some big news, it kind of, oops. It gives you it didn't quite work how I wanted to before, but there you go, this will work a little bit better. So it just zooms in on your object, which is pretty cool. So again, all of these just give you rewind, it goes backwards. If you don't have the extra hand to hold down the button to be able to take that 15-second video, just tap it and then have your hands free to be able to do that. So if you have a tripod, or you can set your phone up to on a table or set it up somewhere, you can just tap that and then to camera or showcase where you are. That's it. And stop motion. So this basically means you can take various photos, and you can almost have a quick story within a story, which is also a little bit of fun. So the I guess what we're saying here with stories, it doesn't have to be the same all the time. You've got a lot of options and ability to be creative. The other thing to note is to have fun, is that you can be a little bit more raw and behind the scenes, and it doesn't have to be as polished as your front page. That's why a lot of brands are getting are really getting into story. Now, if you have 10,000 followers, you can also add a link to actually go to an outside property like a website, but that is not available if you do not have those 10,000 followers. But the way I get around that, I often say link, see link in bio, and I have all my my website link. Depending on what it is that we're going to, we went through, we've gone through the program about bios. Go and check out that section if you haven't yet. But certainly, I could also, you can just say check out and add your website in there to be able to use this as a vehicle to get your visitors and your audience away from Instagram and into the post. Okay, so I hope that you found that little tutorial helpful, and we'll move on to our next segment.
One of the latest features within Instagram and within stories in particular is highlights. Now, what do we mean by highlights? Essentially, when you share a story onto your Instagram account, your story exists within your profile image. So when you go into your Instagram home account, so you hit the little home page, bottom left hand corner, and here you are. You can tap on your profile picture and it'll take you straight to the latest stories that you've shared. Now, down what I've highlighted here, right in the middle of the account, is a whole heap of categories that have been set by yours truly, and it's essentially a way, remember we've talked about theming our content for our posts. Well, what Instagram has allowed us to do is categorize our stories into separate little catalogs of content that we can help sit within our profile and does not disappear. So if you highlight one of your stories, it essentially means that it can sit there beyond the 24 hours that it would normally under your story feature. Let me explain. So here we can have a story to start with. Over here, it looks very swish and branded to my colors, and I've got the little symbols, but it didn't always look like that.
This is how it used to look. So when you share, when you highlight and you choose to highlight a story, it really takes the image from the first highlight that you did into that category. And then you can choose one of your key photos as the front cover of your story highlight, which is all of these here. Now, after I worked out how to make these look a lot more branded and a lot nicer to look on my feed, I changed all of these to now look as they do. So I've got my family category. I love to work out at the gym and I love to run, so I share a lot of my fitness journey stories, travel stories, social, podcasts, and so forth. But how did I get these little symbols? I want to share and introduce to you Canva. So come over to the next lesson and let's talk about Canva. Welcome to canva.com. For any of you that know Canva, you can skip this lesson because you know what a wonderful gift it is to the world of non-designers. For those of you that are hearing about Canva for the first time, welcome. This is a real game changer. It's changed everything in my business when it comes to creative and being able to have the autonomy to produce beautifully creative, whether it's for online, social, or physical branded proposals, brochures, posters. It is a fantastic tool. Essentially, Canva is a designing platform and app. So there's a fantastic desktop, and the new app that complements the website is equally as awesome when you want to do designs on the fly. Now, to give you a very, very quick 101 on Canva, they have a wealth of creative designs and that are pre-populated for anything to do and everything to do around social media posts, documents, blogging and ebooks, marketing material, social media covers like your Facebook cover, Twitter cover, LinkedIn cover, YouTube cover, you name it, blog post headers, website headers, even menu designs you can find on this Canva platform. Now, once you choose your design element, for example, here I've gone into social media posts, and the standard 800 by 800 social media post is going to give you your nice square post, which is fantastic for Instagram. Now, if you can scroll down all of this here, it is just one professional design after the other. The beauty about this is that real designers that know what they're doing and can appreciate which font goes with what font and what color goes with what color have already done the foundation work in the design. And then it's up to us to simply upload images, our own images, and drag and drop to make it our own. So if this could very well be a blog post to say 10 things you must see in Geelong Ballerine region, whatever, or 10 easy dishes, 10 dishes to try when you visit Victoria. Okay, let's be creative, but imagine this was one of your blog posts on your website and you want to use Instagram to be able to give and share the love that you've just posted on your blog post. You might want to come onto Canva and look at a template like this, upload one of your own images, and you literally drag and drop it and it will override what's there and simply change the font, change the text and the copy. And Viola, you can come up here, you can download it into a PNG, a PDF, or a JPEG file, and then you have a wonderful image that you can share on Instagram and direct traffic to your link in your bio where they can read and find out more. While we're on the topic of Canva, another fantastic tool and function of the platform is that you can also change up your social media covers. As I mentioned earlier, this is something that a lot of businesses leave static. They've done it once and they kind of set and forget it. But with a tool like Canva, you don't have to. You can be creative in sharing and changing things up every quarter, every month, every couple of months. You've just got the ability to showcase more variety and use those cover images as prime billboard real estate for your business. Okay. And that's your introduction to Canva. Have a lot of fun with it. I hope you enjoy it. If you create anything on your Instagram account, please tag me at Desi Caratius. I'd love to see what you come up with. Now let's continue on to highlights. To be able to create those wonderful highlighted symbols and that are branded and look a lot slicker for your account, it would be a matter of creating like a blog header for on Canva, and then actually sending it to your mobile device and then sharing that image onto your story and then being able to create it as a highlight. Let me show you here and give you an example that I've just put together right now. Now this is where we took off earlier, where I showed you all the different functions that you can have within stories. Now once you're finished, now we're just having a play around to show you all the different features, you would actually hit add to my story with the plus sign, add to my story. Alternatively, you could send to someone privately. So you could send to, and all your list of contacts and followers would show up. Now, once you've actually shared your story, this is what it will show you. It will show you a Facebook symbol, and this essentially means that you can tap this and share that same story onto your Facebook Pages account if you're linked on with your Facebook, or you can select to choose it to add to one of your highlights. Now let's pretend I have just tapped the highlight button, and then here we go. All of my different highlights that are branded to their category will show up. With this particular post, I will add it to my Be Excellent. Now to get those cover photos, remember, you would have to create your content, create it in Canva, then download it and take the photo onto make sure you upload the photo onto your camera roll, and then in the same way that I've just shared this story here, you would share that cover image and then you can add it. In this instance, I would choose Be Excellent, and then when I go into the actual Be Excellent highlight, you can see here there's like, it looks like hundreds of little dot, and that is really the accumulation of all the stories that I've done over the next little while and that I've selected to be put under Be Excellent. And this is when I give my audience a look behind the scenes to when I'm teaching and all different variety of things. Sometimes I even just read quotes. It's a little bit of fun, and more than anything for myself personally, I find it an excellent way to connect and for your audience to just get to know you and what you're about a little bit more than what you would probably do or show on the front of your Instagram. It's just so much more fluid and relaxed doing it through stories. Here's another example. I saw a hot air balloon in our backyard, and there you go. I used that functionality, remember, with the sticker in the top right hand corner, and I tagged my friends at Global Ballooning Australia. Then I hit highlight, and just to divert your attention to, you can see how many people have seen the story in the bottom left hand corner. And then once you hit highlight, you can go on and then choose which highlight you want that to be made part of your journey. And then you can choose which highlight you want that particular story to be included as part of that categories or highlights journey. To finish off our stories, some tips on your stories creative best practice. Your creative best practice should take into your account to really tell your story and being concept driven. So actually take those things like those categories and the highlights of your themes, and then just like we schedule and have a strategic approach to our front end posts, this is the same similar way that you can think of different concepts or different ways you can embed your stories into that same type of format, whether it's behind the scenes, views, a wildlife. So think of different themes. Up to 5 will be a good start. Anywhere really between 2 to 5 or 10, as long as you know that you will actively pursue and make sure that you can regularly and consistently share those type of stories. Now, being on brand is also very, very important, and being on brand within the stories framework really means being more you, bringing more you into it, and sharing your unique point of view. And last but not least, being well crafted. So creating thought and care, tapping into your creative side, and most importantly with stories is to have fun and use all of those quirky little features and filters, and just have fun with it. The experiment, there is no magic bullet, there is no right or wrong. It's just a matter of you getting creative and having a lot of play with the stories feature. Well done. This brings us to the end of module 1. In all of our lessons and our journey together, we've covered why Instagram, what are the benefits, the stats, and the best practices that you can embrace in using this platform for your tourism business. We looked at some inspiration, other successful Instagram accounts, and sprinkled throughout different types of themes and practices and models that you can adapt, and you can have some experimentation within your profile. Content creation, we look at themes to build your brand stories, and stories explained, and how to build your Instagram stories, and looked at all the different functions, features, and the benefits of those. It would not be an Institute of Excellence course and module without finishing off with a quote. Without strategy, content is just stuff, and the world has enough stuff. That's from the Mark Zuckerberg, the big man behind Facebook, and of course Instagram as well. Facebook acquired the platform a few years back for a cool $1 billion. Now, if you have any questions, any comments, any aha moments, anything to share, stay connected. Please feel free to get in touch. And last but not least, thank you for hanging in there. Let's meet over for module 2.